Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a great start to your week. I have some questions as we start off today's episode. I'm just wondering, now that Halloween is behind us, crazy, now we can plan for another Halloween. So exciting. How many of you are already starting to decorate for the holidays? We had a little poll within our group of coworkers yesterday, and it seems we're a little bit divided on this subject. Some of us are already decorating for the holidays, meaning like trees are going up, and some of us kind of stay in the fall vibe for a little bit longer. So, we kind of decorate for Thanksgiving, and then after Thanksgiving, we start getting the holiday stuff out. Christmas, Hanukkah, what have you. So I was just wondering, I thought I would ask you all, do you have your trees going up yet? Or, your holiday decorations, are they coming out of storage? Or do you generally wait until after Thanksgiving? Give yourself a little time of transition between Halloween and Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you may celebrate. I like to, personally myself, also decorate for Thanksgiving. I never really have a huge Thanksgiving gathering here at my house, but I love the fall leaves and the changing colors and the golds and the browns and the yellows and the mustards and all those great colors. So I kind of leave pumpkin things out, but I take Halloween down. And that's sort of my, I guess, transition period. And it's always been a tradition of my family to decorate for the holidays on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Because after all, we all generally, or most of us, or a lot of us, get that day off of work. The kids are still off of school. So it's a great day to kind of come together, get the decorations out, start playing the holiday tunes and what have you. So I just thought I would kind of put it out there because today I do have a holiday project to share with you, but you're really just learning a new take on a technique, and I'm super excited to share it with you. You don't have to make this project a holiday project because it's really dependent on the fabrics that you're choosing. So if you want to make this for fall, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Valentine's Day, you get the idea. You're just going to choose different fabrics and you can do the exact same method, use the exact same pattern, and make it for any holiday you choose. All right, so some people are weighing in here, decorating just before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving. Some people are saying no trees yet, but outdoor decorations have begun. All right, so we're a little bit divided here too, but most people are saying put the trees up after Thanksgiving. I can understand the excitement and all of that as well. So, especially as sewers, we need a little bit more time to create some new things, and that doesn't happen overnight, right? So I thought we would start talking about the holidays, holiday decor, wearables, things like that. That's what we're going to talk about for most of the month of November as we are in our transition period leading up to the holidays, because we need some more time to make these goods and these items and make our little wish lists and gift lists and all those things. So we're going to start now, but that doesn't mean we have to use this stuff right away. We just have to get it kind of in the queue and get started on it so that after Thanksgiving, we're ready to go. We could start getting things out. All right. Hi, Deb. I've missed you too. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Colleen. Colleen says after Thanksgiving as well. I'm with you. All right. Shannon says Christmas starts for me when I see Santa in the Macy's Thanksgiving parade. That's always a great kickoff to the holidays too. All right. So before we get to the project today, which again is really kind of my take on a technique that you might be familiar with, but we're going to do it in a cooler way, and a more flexible way, anyways, we'll get to that momentarily. I did want to mention our India tour is closing soon, but they did give us a little bit more time because we only have 7 registrations left for India. So if you're interested in this tour with Craft Tours, our Sulky India tour has a couple more weeks now that you can register. So if you want to grab one of those last 7 spots, do so today. Indicate that you want to register. I put the link for registering for our Craft Tours trips in the description of today's post, I believe. Now I'm second guessing myself. We'll put it in the chat regardless so that you will be taken right to the Sulky tours because there's so many tours over there at crafttours.com. We want to make sure you get on the Sulky tours. So we will put that link in the description of today's post. 7 spots remain for India, and people are already signing up for Greece. Greece is happening in May of 2025. And while we're talking about the holidays and gifts and things like that, why not give yourself the gift of travel and go somewhere absolutely amazing in 2025? You can join us for this Greece tour. And as I said, people are already signing up for it. That's a great sign. I know this is going to be such a bucket list trip for so many people. So you can check out this trip and the full itinerary over on the Sulky page of the Craft Tours website. So again, we will post that in the comments in the live chat here, so you can head on over and check it out, as well as pricing details, payment plan information, all that good stuff. All right. I also want to make sure everyone is registered for our Gingerbread Puff Ornaments webcast. This is a free event happening next Tuesday already. Next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be going live to show you how to create these adorable puffy ornaments that you can make to decorate your tree that you're going to put up either before or after Thanksgiving. So these also make a really adorable garland. I'm going to show you different ways of using these ornaments and kind of manipulating the design to create different things. You don't just have to use them as hanging ornaments. I love to get the most mileage out of my embroidery designs and my patterns that I buy. So I want to pass that information on to you during this webcast. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern Time next Tuesday at sewingonline.sulky.com. So I will still be doing the So What next week. And then we will go on to our education platform where you can join there. As long as you're registered, you can join. And if you can't be there live, no worries, because as with all of our events, they become on-demand, start anytime videos once the live event ends. So as long as you're registered, you can get your free design, which is an In the Hoop coaster design from Sulky. You can grab up that free design. It has a $6.99 value, I want to say. And then you can also watch the entire webcast. Once the live event ends, you'll have that video there on the page. You'll have access to all that information forever. It never expires. So make sure to register. It's absolutely free. You get a bunch of goodies. And you'll also be eligible to win 2 fantastic door prizes that we will be giving away during the event. You do not have to be live to win the door prizes. So another great perk of making sure you're registered for this event. And yes, these ornaments were designed by our friends at Parker on the Porch. You might remember Parker on the Porch from when we did our boba tea webcast, which was the cutest project on the planet. It would also make a really great holiday gift for a little one or even a friend who loves boba tea. If that's on your must-make list, you can find all that information still, because now that is a start anytime webcast over at sewingonline.sulky.com. All right. Yes, Bunny says, I love these ornaments. Me too. I think they are so adorable. They really get you in the spirit and make you want to do some baking. And you know what? If you're not a baker, why not make these adorable cookies in the hoop of your embroidery machine? Okay. All right. And yes, there is a kit for this. Thank you for asking. This kit is available at sulky.com. You get Sulky Felty. You get Sulky Puffy Foam, which is what's giving it that great little puff, giving them some dimension. You also get the Sulky thread that you need to create these, and the stabilizer. So it's all put together in one convenient kit with the colors and everything that you need to create, I believe it's 2 full sets of ornaments. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you can create 8 ornaments with this kit. So really, really great deal on that. Also, make sure while you're over there registering for all these great events, make sure to put the New Year's Eve sew along in your library over there at sewingonline.sulky.com. You want to make sure to register for this event early. I know it's just November, beginning of November, but New Year's Eve will be here before you know it. And there's a little bit of prep that needs to be done for this sew along. So this sew along, we will be making the Dutton bag, right? It has a little bit of a Yellowstone theme. The Dutton bag that is designed by Sally Tomato. They will be showing us the entire construction of the bag during this sew along event. And I will be discussing the freestanding lace piece that goes on the front of the bag. So you can either make 2 of these or 1 of these, depending on your desired finished look. But whether you make 1 or 2, you need to make this piece ahead of time. And it does take a while to stitch out. I mean, look how large this piece is. It gets framed up by the beautiful faux leather that's on the bag. There's 2 colorways to choose from of the bag, this brown and sort of cream one, and then there's also a black and red one that's really, really beautiful. The red is more like a dark, deep burgundy kind of red. Oh, you're going to love it. Both of them are absolutely fantastic. So again, make sure you register, because as soon as you register for the sew along, you will get access to the event page where you'll find all your files for the freestanding lace, which is created by Designs by Baby Moon. And then you will also get your full video tutorial taking you through how to create this piece. Okay, so you'll have all that support leading up to the sew along, so you can join on New Year's Eve at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That's right, it's noon Year's Eve. And you'll be ready to go. You'll have your freestanding lace created, you'll have your pieces cut out, and we can get right to the sewing and sew together. All right, so I think that's all my business for today, and it gave us a chance for people to log in and start viewing. We've got lots more people, lots more eyes on the live stream today. And make sure you are chatting and participating today in the live stream, whether you're giving me those great emojis or putting your questions and comments in the live chat or the comments below here. Because as long as you're doing that, you will be automatically eligible to win today's gift from Sulky, which is a 6-pack of our 50-weight thread on a snap spool. I have some right there in my machine because I'm going to show you a variation of the project we're making today. So I was working with some black thread as well. But at any rate, it is our holiday home 50-weight cotton thread assortment. And you will find red, green, white, black, all those great holiday colors that you're going to need leading up to the holidays. So for all of your holiday makes, you can use that 6-pack of thread, and it'll go a long way for a lot of projects. So make sure you are engaging with the post today, and you could win that 6-pack of thread. All right. Ready for both. All right. You're all signed up for both events. That is great. Marcia says, what is the lace stitched on for the New Year's Eve event? So you actually stitch this onto Sulky Fabri-Solvi stabilizer. And then when your stitching is complete, you rinse all of that stabilizer away, and you get this beautiful piece of custom lace that is perfectly sized for the bag. It's pretty amazing watching it all stitch out. So you'll see it's got all this underlay stitching, right? That is supporting all of the satin stitches that you see here, making this beautiful lace piece. And it's rather flexible, but it has all finished edges. So once you frame it out with the exterior faux leather, it has this really great sort of see-through quality, right? So you can see, you'll be able to see the faux leather peeking out through it. It's just really a stunning, stunning bag. I can't wait. I'm so excited for this one. All right. Let's see. Joan says, my regular sewing thread is so old, it really needs replacing. Joan, you need to be a winner, or you need to grab up some thread at sulky.com. We have some great deals going on right now on the website as well. All right. Everyone's saying the lace is beautiful, loving it. All right. I look forward to seeing you all on New Year's Eve. And, of course, before then. Okay. So let's see. Oh, another thing before we get started, thinking about the holidays. So we have all these really great little gifties at sulky.com. And I don't know if you're aware, we don't just sell thread and stabilizers. There's all kinds of little things that you can add to your cart. Maybe you want to get to your free shipping threshold because you have to spend about $60 to get free shipping. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I absolutely hate paying for shipping. I mean, I know that these companies, they need to be paid, obviously, to keep bringing us stuff, but it just irks me so bad to pay for shipping. It's like, I'd rather just get more stuff and get to that free shipping threshold than pay somebody to bring me my package. So I'm always a sucker for, making sure I get to that level and getting more stuff out of it. I'd much rather get a couple spools of thread, than pay for the shipping. Okay, so off of that soapbox. But we have all these great little gift items at sulky.com, and we just got a bunch more to be prepared for the holidays. Some things are also custom to Sulky. So if you haven't checked them out yet, I decided I have a good friend, family friend, who loves sewing, who watches here sometimes. So, if she's watching today, she won't be as surprised with this gift, but maybe she'll be pleasantly surprised that it's for her. We'll see. Okay. So I decided to grab up some items for her and create a little holiday gift out of some of my favorite things that I loved that we brought into the site, package this up for her, and send it off for the holidays. She might get it a little early too, because it might come in handy for her holiday, sewing projects and whatnot too. But first off, I'm starting off with a cute little sewing themed pouch. All right. So this one is, printed. It's a Sulky pouch. You won't find this anywhere else. Look how it has our little Sulky spool here. And then all these cute little motifs, right? Adorable. Love it. This is great for sewing on the go when you need to, maybe you're traveling or something over the holidays and you want to take a handwork project with you. Or maybe you like to do English paper piecing and you have a little paper piecing, little tackle box. You could put that in here or put the other tools that you need to travel with. So love me a zipper pouch. All right, so we got our zipper pouch. We're just going to package up this gift for my sewing friend together. And then you can see the items that I chose. And I've linked to all of them in the description of today's post. If you're not seeing the whole description, just click on that See More button. It'll all pop out. You'll find links for all of these things. So this is the Sulky zipper pouch. And then she loves cats, has a couple of them. And we got these cute little scissors, right? Talk about on the go. This is perfect for on the go sewing. So little, protective little thing on the tip, but these are perfect for clipping loose threads, for doing handwork projects, all kinds of stuff. And they have this adorable little cat print on them. Really great brand too. They're Bow and Scissors. So nice and sharp, and they stay sharp. Really, really good quality. And they fit in your hand so nicely. They're nice and kind of ergonomic. So I thought these would be good. So we're going to put those in our little zipper pouch. And then I absolutely love a sticker for a water bottle or a laptop. I must have told you all that one time I was at the airport, put my laptop in, its own little bin at the airport to go through security, and someone took my laptop by mistake, and I ended up with hers. I grabbed it off of the bin, and I thought, I don't think this is my computer. Well, she was long gone, took a train, to a different gate. It was madness to get my laptop back. And ever since that day, yes, I did get it back, but it was madness, okay? And I'm friends with this person now. It's hilarious. Anyways, long story short, I do not go anywhere without putting a sticker of some sort on my laptop that identifies it as mine, because so many of us have the same electronics now, okay? So I love these vinyl stickers that are peel and stick, reusable. They don't harm your electronics. They don't harm your water bottle. You can also, if your water bottle goes in the dishwasher, these vinyl stickers can go in the dishwasher also. They don't peel up. They don't leave a weird sticky residue. Really awesome. So I love a little sewing themed little sticker. So this one is at sulky.com. You are so special. Love it. So I think she will love it. She could put it on her water bottle. And actually, since these have this safe adhesive on them, you could also put it on your sewing machine and decorate it a little bit. So that's going in the little pouch. All right. Next, this person that I know and love is a quilter. She identifies as a quilter, we will say. So she does all kinds of sewing, but mostly I would say she identifies as a quilter. So at sulky.com, we have a bunch of very cute little woven labels that you can add into the binding of your quilts on the back side, or anything that you create. If you create a little half apron, you can put it into the little upper edge seam where you add your ties for the apron, things like this, right? We never really want to make something homemade and not sign it in some way. So I thought these little woven labels would be perfect for her because they're all cute little quilt blocks. So it's really just, it's kind of like grosgrain ribbon almost, folded, and with these cute little quilt blocks woven into them. So I thought this could be her new kind of signature calling card on the things that she makes. So I'm gifting her a little pack of these. So these will fit right in to our cute little zipper pouch. And then, oh my gosh, you guys are going to love these. And I have to get a pair for myself. You know that I go nuts for sewing jewelry. In the past, we've had cute little sewing machine necklaces, a scissor bracelet, all kinds of sewing jewelry. I absolutely love wearing. I just don't know how else to describe it. Every time I see a necklace that has a sewing machine on it, I have to have it. So we have some custom wooden earrings at sulky.com. I don't know if you guys even know this. I'm going to open these to show you without the packaging, and then we'll put it nicely back for my friend. All right, so we have sewing machine ones. Those are super popular, almost sold out. But we also have these cute little thread spools. Are these adorable? They are wooden, okay? And they come in different colors too. So there's pink and teal and yellow and purple and, all kinds of different colors of the earrings. And they're really nice little studs. They just make a cute little statement. I love these so much. All right, so we're going to put these nicely back in the package, pretend like we never ever opened them. And you know what? They're only like $10. Seriously, they're only $10. You cannot buy earrings for $10. And these are custom made wooden little earrings Come in the color that you choose. I mean, could they get any cuter? If you have a bunch of sewists on your gift list, maybe you're part of a guild, maybe you're part of a sewing bee of some kind, and there's 10 of you, 5 of you, what have you. What a great little gift to give. And you can get everybody the color that suits them. And they're all kind of getting the same thing. And you can all wear your earrings together. I mean, I love it. All right, so those are going in there. And then, of course, I have to include some spools of thread because who doesn't need thread all the time? So I picked some colors that kind of coordinate actually with this zipper pouch. So I have a spool of red, and this is the 50 weight cotton. Our most popular red, which is true red, very great for holiday gift making and going into Valentine's Day. So I thought that would be appropriate. And then a basic gray. She uses basic gray a lot for a lot of her quilting. So I had to include a basic gray. That one is steel gray. And then also a beautiful purple to go kind of with the red and also kind of match with everything that's going on. So 3 spools of thread, all these little goodies. What a great little Christmas gift for a sewing friend. I'm just going to put a ribbon on this. I don't even think I'm going to wrap it. Okay, who am I kidding? I'm probably going to wrap it because I love wrapping things. But you wouldn't have to. You could just put a little ribbon around here, put a little, handwritten note, and you've got yourself an awesome gift for a sewing friend. It's always difficult, in my opinion, to sew something for a sewing friend. I guess it's not difficult, but I almost would rather give them the supplies that they want to, inspire them to create something else. So throw in some scissors, some thread spools, you get the idea. And now I'm ready to go, and I can cross one person off of my gift list already, and it's only November 5th. So exciting. All right, so I wanted to share that with you because I got everything in to create this little gift. So I thought, no time like the present, let's get ahead of things, grab these up, especially because I know these earrings are going to go so fast. So if you guys are interested in those, you're going to want to grab those up. And yes, we do have little sewing machines as well as the little thread spools too. So, wrap it with a fat quarter. What a great idea. Thank you so much. Because then she gets some fabric out of the deal too. Very, very cute idea. All right, so let's get to our project today because I'm so excited to share this technique with you. I got this idea. This is our project for today. It is a patchwork holiday pillow. And as I mentioned earlier, this doesn't have to be a holiday pillow. It can be a seasonal pillow. You can use any fabric you want for this. It's just that I used Christmas prints for mine. So I'm calling it a Christmas pillow. But you can use this exact pattern, which is free at sulky.com. Go to sulky.com, put this pattern in your cart, go through the checkout process. Everything will say $0, and then it will be added to your account at sulky.com. You'll have the whole PDF with all the instructions, all the beautiful photography showing you all the steps for creating this. So make sure to add this one to your cart so that you have that PDF. You can print it off or just save it to your computer because you can make this for Valentine's Day. You can make this for the spring. You get the idea. You are going to purchase up the fabrics that work for your time of year, your gift recipient, whatever you're making this for. All right. So first things first, I got the idea for this because you may have seen out there in the universe, they have, these manufacturers have created interfacing that has a pre-printed grid on it. All right. And typically the grid is made up of 2-inch squares. That's the most, I would say, popular or most prevalent product that I found out there in the internet world is 2-inch gridded printed interfacing. Now, if you want to use a jelly roll to sew on this pre-printed grid, you would need to cut down your strip by a 1/2 inch so that you can create 2-inch squares of fabric to put on your grid. The whole purpose of this grid is to give you a shortcut for doing patchwork, but also help you attain better accuracy with all of your piecing. So all of your points will match up, and it's so easy to streamline the patchwork. You can really do it in a fraction of the time it would take you to sew together all of these 2-inch squares. So again, I wanted to use a jelly roll because I found this great holiday print jelly roll on sale at my local fabric store. And I thought this is going to be good for so many coordinating holiday decor projects. So not only would I use it for this pillow, but then I can use some coordinates for some stockings. I can use this to create a piece table runner. You get the idea. All out of one jelly roll. A jelly roll is 2.5-inch wide strips, or 2.5-inch strips by the width of fabric. Okay. All right. Just in case you were not familiar with the term. So in order to use a jelly roll to do this sort of gridded interfacing technique for patchwork, I would need to cut down all of these fabric strips. And then I've kind of lost the point of using a jelly roll. Using a jelly roll, is a great convenience. And if we have to go getting crazy cutting it, then we've lost that convenience factor. The other thing I thought was, well, what if I want to use tiny little 1-inch squares, but this pre-printed interfacing is 2 inches? Okay, so I've also seen it in different grid dimensions, but again, that 2-inch was most prevalent. Also, I found it to be quite pricey. When you compare this gridded interfacing with, let's just say, your traditional interfacing or stabilizer, the gridded interfacing is so much more money, and you're not really getting very much of it. You're getting maybe a 1 yard cut, 1/2 yard cut. I don't know. I didn't really go down the deep dive of what's available because look, it's not a Sulky product, and I was really hesitant about the whole thing because I'd never worked with it before. So I thought, I'm going to do a little test, but I'm going to use Sulky stabilizer and make my own grid, because then it can be whatever dimensions I want it to be. I can even make a grid out of rectangles instead of squares. I have so much greater flexibility if I create my own grid. And then I can create my own grid in the exact dimensions of my pillow top, let's say, or my stocking, or whatever it is that I'm making in this patchwork style. All right. So I did a little test. I took a piece of Sulky's Soft and Sheer Extra Stabilizer, fusible stabilizer. You need it to be fusible in order to do this patchwork technique, because what we're going to do is we're going to fuse our fabric to the stabilizer and then sew all of our horizontal and vertical seams in one shot. I will explain. All right, so I took a little, square of the stabilizer, drew my grid lines to 2.5 inches square instead of the 2-inch because I wanted to use a jelly roll. And then I just experimented by doing a 3x3 grid. All right, so I needed 9 squares of fabric, measuring 2.5 inches square. Then I placed each square inside of each grid box, fused that to the stabilizer, sewed all of my columns, then sewed all of my rows, and I had perfect patchwork. And the stabilizer stabilizes the fabric. So if you're cutting a lightweight fabric, or if you want to cut your print on the bias, maybe you're trying to fussy cut a motif or something like this, Fusing it to that stabilizer will stabilize it. I don't know how else to describe it. It sounds silly, but because obviously that's what stabilizer does. So now if you have some bias cut squares with some cross cut squares, blah, 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 you're stabilizing everything. And when you sew your seams, you're not going to have any of that fabric stretch, and all of your points are going to match perfectly. Brilliant. Is everyone with me? I'm going to show you this step by step so it becomes more clear, but so much better to use a stabilizer rather than an interfacing because you're getting that extra stability factor. It's a little tiny bit heavier weight than a lightweight interfacing, but you can also get it by the bolt. You can get larger quantities. You can get it on the roll, and you can use as much or as little as you want. You don't have to buy this pre-printed stuff that might be more expensive, that might have a lot more waste, depending on, if you're getting a 1 yard piece, but you only need a 20-inch square, etc. Okay, so we're going to gather up a jelly roll of our choosing, or you can certainly go into your fabric stash and just start cutting 2.5-inch squares. But I wanted to use this jelly roll to make the cutting go by a little bit faster because you do need quite a bit of squares for your patchwork holiday pillow. All right, we also, of course, need some thread, and we need the Sulky Soft and Sheer Extra Stabilizer. Make sure you're getting the extra and not the regular soft and sheer. The extra means it's fusible. So you're going to have the fusible glue bumps on one side and then the smooth lightweight stabilizer on the other. So we're going to take that soft and sheer extra stabilizer, and I put it smooth side up to mark my grid lines, but then you want to make sure that you're turning it to the bumpy side to do your fabric placement and your fusing. Because if you accidentally put your fabric on the non-fusible side, plan out your whole design, and then take it over to the ironing board, you're going to fuse it to your ironing board. Okay, so make sure. You can also mark it on the bumpy fusible side if you're a little nervous and you think you're going to forget to turn it over, because that can happen. It might very well have happened in my test. So you get the idea. All right, so you want to make sure you're using a marking pen that you're going to be able to see on the other side. So if you are marking on that smooth side, turn it over, make sure you can see that grid line. So I love my yellow chalk marker. It's a Clover product. I absolutely use this for so many marking things. I've kind of gotten a little bit away of using the heat removable marking pens. I do like them for certain applications, but I just go back to my trusty chalk pretty much all the time. So I was able to see through this on the wrong side. It's very difficult to see right here. I'm going to try and make this a little bit bigger. All right, can you see the grid now that I created? You can see all of my 2.5-inch squares on my Soft and Sheer Extra Stabilizer. So to start off, I cut the stabilizer to the dimensions of the pattern, which has to be bigger than your pillow top because you have to take into account all of these seam allowances that you're going to sew. So follow the directions on the pattern. The pattern makes a 16-inch square pillow, or utilizes, I should say, a 16-inch square pillow form. All right, so if you want to make a bigger one, a smaller one, you're going to have to do some math to make sure that your piece is large enough. So I cut my stabilizer to those dimensions, and then I started off by making my horizontal and vertical center cross marks. Then I knew what my absolute center point was on the stabilizer. Then I drew my 2.5-inch equidistant lines, both horizontally and vertically. Okay, so now I've got my own gridded stabilizer that I've created to my own dimensions, and we're off to the races. Okay. So now make sure you have your 2.5-inch fabric squares, and really you can create your squares out of however many fabrics you want. All right. So in using that jelly roll, I just went in and kind of picked all the ones I wanted to feature, all the prints I wanted to feature on my pillow, and I just started playing around with the placement. You could do all sorts of things here. You don't have to go diagonally. You can make, different rows. You can maybe even, create a letter, maybe of your last name or something like this. Out of your patchwork, you can do concentric, colors across your pillow. You get the idea. So just start playing around on your gridded stabilizer with those fabrics, making sure to place your fabric right side up over the bumpy side or the fusible side of your stabilizer. So this is the pattern I came up with, but again, you do you, really have fun with it. You can just kind of go crazy and nothing has to match. You can use all different fabric scraps in the same kind of color family. This is a great way to use up scraps. Love it. So once you have the design of your choice, what I did was I slipped my wool pressing mat right underneath the stabilizer to transport this over to my pressing area. If you're able to create your design right on the top of your ironing board or your pressing area, that would be great, because I did have to kind of finagle my squares a little bit once I moved it. So keep that in mind as well. You might want to just, play around on your pressing surface itself. So you'll place all of these squares in your grid. Then we have to fuse the fabric to the stabilizer. Okay. So I really highly suggest you use a pressing mat of some kind. You can also perhaps get away with using like a piece of muslin. But if there's any fusible that's kind of peeking out between squares, or if you have any shifting that you need to kind of fix after you're pressing, that muslin might get fused to the stabilizer as well. So you want to err on the side of caution of that. But you don't need a super hot iron. Soft and sheer extra is not going to withstand the heat of a super hot iron. So you need to be on the medium to medium low side of things. And when we're pressing, you just want to go up in an up and down motion, not across as though you're ironing. Okay, pressing and ironing, two different terms. Pressing means we're going in an up and down motion, moving the iron across the fabric. Ironing is sweeping the iron over the surface of the fabric, which can cause that shifting and then does not really result in the best bond with your fusible. All right, so press, use a press cloth. I used a press cloth that has like a coating on it. So if any of the fusible is exposed accidentally, then you can simply just peel the pressing sheet away and nothing gets stuck. And you're also not gumming up your super cute iron in the process. And don't worry if there is some shifting or if the stabilizer is exposed after you do this, because it's going to be in the seam allowance and nobody's going to see it. Okay. So if you have a little bit of shifting, or if maybe one of your squares isn't exactly straight in the grid after you've fused it, don't even worry about it, because once we sew all those seams, no one's going to know. Okay? That's why I love, love, love this patchwork technique, because it is so forgiving. Really, really great for a first-time quilter, or if you've never done patchwork like this before and you're worried about matching up all those points. This just takes that fear completely away. So after we have fused all of our squares, it's time to do the sewing. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold along that very first grid line. And you can either do your columns first or your rows first. It doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. I just like to do the longer side. Now this is a square, so each side, whether it's a column or a row, is going to be the same dimension. But if you are doing, a rectangle to create something else, which I'll show you in a minute, then I think it's easier to start with the longer seams, and then you can go in and do the shorter ones later. All right, so we're going to fold along that first grid line and just finger press it a little bit so it's nice and crisp along that fold. And we're just going to sew our 1/4 inch seam allowance right down that entire first column. So you can see that even if you were off a little bit, or, your square wasn't, perfectly square, or a little corner lifted up or something like that, it's going to be in the seam allowance here. So after you sew this, you're going to follow suit and sew every single column or row if you started with the rows. All right, so now you see how our big piece of stabilizer with the fabric fused to it has now shrunk quite a bit because all of those 1/4 inch seam allowances. So keep that in mind if you are trying to resize this, create a larger pillow. Add in all your 1/4 inch seam allowances to the dimensions that you need, all right, so that you have enough fabric. All right, so now we've got all of our columns done, and this is a very important part to help reduce the bulk, all right? So since we are now going to sew the rows, and we're going to have all these seams with the stabilizer attached, we don't want to have all of our corners where we've pieced together all of our fabric squares, we don't want them to be super bulky. So to avoid that, take your sharp scissors. These little cat scissors would be perfect for this because they have a super sharp point, and go in and clip into all of those intersecting seams, right? So at each grid line for the row, we're just going to clip into each grid line there so that we can nest our seams. We can press them in opposite directions. And then when we go to sew the rows, our seam allowances will be going in different directions, thereby reducing the bulk. All right. So clip into, but not touching the thread so that, we don't clip into our actual seam that we sewed. So right up to it along all of those intersecting lines. So now you can go over to your iron and gently press your seams in opposite directions where they intersect. So you can see my top row is going one direction, second row going the opposite direction, and what have you, all down the piece, I guess we can call it now. All right, so once we've done all that, we can sew our rows. So you will fold your first row to the wrong side along that grid line, and then notice how I have my clipped seam allowances from the columns that I just sewed. Make sure those are in opposite directions. You could place a little clover wonder clip at each seam intersection just to make sure that your seam allowances are going the right way. Then we will sew that row, and you will follow suit along the entire piece. So now it's looking more even, and we have our 2.5 inch fabric squares all sewn together, and it took a fraction of the time that it would take if you were to sew these all individually. And look at all those perfect, precise corner points. Not a single one is off, and everything looks fantastic. All right, so now you can also press those rows, and you can choose to press everything downward, everything upward, whatever you like, but we want to make sure that this is nice and flat so that we can add our quilting now. All right, so for the quilting, we're going to add some low loft batting behind our pieced piece. Okay, I'm just going to call it the pillow top now. So behind our pillow top, or behind our fabric piece we just created. So we're going to use some Sulky KK2000. This is our temporary spray adhesive that I love so much. We are going to temporarily adhere our pieced pillow top to a piece of low loft batting that is cut to the same size. And now we can add the quilting of our choice. So I just decided to do straight line quilting. I started with one corner, went down to the opposite lower edge corner, and then I made my quilting lines about a 1/2 inch or so apart. Maybe even a 1/4 inch. I don't know. I can't remember. It's all in the pattern. And I used that great Sulky 50 weight cotton thread for the quilting, but you could certainly go up to even a 30 weight cotton thread if you really want the thread to be prominent on the piece. Now I wanted the fabric to really shine, so I just picked a neutral off-white 50 weight cotton thread so that it would kind of blend in, but it still gives it that quilting texture. And then you can see I'm using my laser light here on my sewing machine. If you're lucky enough to have one of those, it makes it so easy to do straight line quilting. But if you don't have one of those, you might want to mark your quilting lines using your chalk marker or removable fabric marker, maybe at least every inch or so, or even every 2 inches. That way you can kind of stay in between the lines and use your presser foot as your guideline for each quilting line. But you could quilt this however you like. You could go right inside of all of your squares and kind of quilt squares all along your pillow. Would be really, really pretty as well. So the quilting of your choice, you are also going to mimic that quilting on your pillow back. So for my pillow back, I just went with a total solid fabric that coordinated with the prints. But you could also do your patchwork on the pillow back. It's really up to you for the look that you're trying to achieve. So you can see I have my pieced front and my beautiful quilted back. So that's up to you. What if you want to continue the trend, do another patchwork piece for the back, or leave it solid like this. But you do want to do the same quilting that you did on the front, on the back, so that you have a nice cohesive look. So what I did was I took my back fabric, put a piece of batting behind it, and quilted it in the same manner, using that KK2000 to secure those layers together. So now I have my front piece, my back piece, just need to trim those up a little bit to size according to the pattern. And now I'm ready to construct the pillow. All right, so the other thing I added to this pillow is custom piping, and I also added an invisible zipper. So this really kicks it up a notch, I think, and makes it look super professional. It looks very boutique-y. I love the addition of some piping, especially on a pillow. I just really think it elevates it. And I was able to use the jelly roll fabrics, the 2.5 inch wide strips, to create custom piping. So I just took piping cord, put it inside of one of the jelly roll strips. I did have to piece, I think maybe 2.5 of them together to create the piping. And I just wrap that jelly roll fabric around the cording. And you could see I have a zipper foot here, but if you have a cording foot, those do exist. You could use that as well. And just stitch close to your piping to enclose it. And you do want to leave yourself that little bit of flange of fabric because it's going to allow you to attach it to the pillow a little bit better, but you can trim a little bit of it off. I found that the 2.5 inch width was a little bit wide after I had my piping sewn, so I just trimmed it up maybe 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch beyond that little piping edge that I sewed. So now that I have my custom piping, we're ready to sew it to the pillow top. Since I'm adding that invisible zipper, I want the cording attached to the top rather than attached to the pillow back so that it, looks nice and pretty and flawless from the front of the pillow. So I started by stitching about 8 inches away from the piping end and sewed it all the way around my pillow top. At the corners, you can clip into your piping seam allowance and then move it to the adjacent side of the pillow so that it follows the curve a little bit easier. All right. It is going to be a little bit bulky along those corners, but you will be able to navigate it, especially if you're using this zipper foot or if you have a narrow foot. That works well as well. So you can see I've moved my needle all the way over so it can get close to that piping edge or close to that cording edge using a zipper foot, and I'm sewing my zipper to the outer edge of the pillow. To join your piping ends, when you get all the way around to your piping beginning where you have that 6 or 8 inch tail, you can open up the piping where it kind of meets each other. Trim the cording so that the cording abuts, and then wrap your cording or your fabric edges around that join so that you don't have any fabric raw edges and they're kind of overlapping each other ever so slightly. And then you can wrap that around the join that you just made and finish sewing that seam. This is illustrated. Is it illustrated in the pattern? It might just say join the cording ends or join the piping ends. If you do have questions about that, there's tons of tutorials out there about joining your ends of cording or piping so that you have a seamless finish. When I'm looking at my pillow, I can't even see or remember where I stopped and started, and that's the look that you're going for. All right, so now I've got my pillow front with my cording attached, and I'm going to add my invisible zipper. So I open up my zipper, give it a press so that my zipper teeth kind of curl away from the 2 stitching lines that are on the zipper. All right. Now I can clip that to the piping seam that I just created so that my zipper teeth are right up against that piping seam line. And then we can stitch one side of the zipper. And I also happen to have an invisible zipper foot. Invisible zipper foot is so amazing to use. It has a little grooves on either side of it, depending on what side of the zipper you're working with. And you put your zipper tooth or zipper teeth in that groove so that when you're sewing your invisible zipper down, you don't come into contact with the teeth. You don't accidentally sew it so that it sticks to the pole, and it sews it really nice and accurate. I mean, presser feet are just the best inventions. If you have a wish list for the holidays, put some presser feet on it so that your friends and family know what to gift you for the holidays. Just saying, presser feet are amazing. All right, if you have an invisible zipper foot, great. If you don't, you can use your regular zipper foot in the same way that you sewed the piping, and make sure that your needle is going over that stitching line that's already on your zipper. All right, then you're going to follow suit with the opposite side of the zipper, stitching it to the right side of your pillow back. Now, I want you to make sure you have a zipper that is much longer than the edge of your pillow. You really want to have your zipper ends extending beyond. There's 2 reasons for this. One is that you can move your pull totally out of the way of the stitching. You don't have to contend with zipping it, unzipping it, moving your presser foot up, down, making sure that your stitching matches up, all this and that. You can just move the pull completely out of the way of the stitching and then move it back once your zipper is sewn in place. Love that. You can also do the same with the zipper end, the zipper stop, so that it does not interfere with your straight sewing. Also then, when you go to sew your pillow together, we're going to sew that pillow, that zipper edge of the pillow. We're going to come in ever so slightly so that our stitching is almost on top of our zipper ends. Okay, so we're going to, let's say this is our pillow, and this is the side where our zipper is. We're actually going to start sewing in a little ways, sew to the corner, go all the way around, and then go in a little ways. Then when we turn it right side out, the ends of our zipper are actually going to be inside of our pillow, and then our invisible zipper will just be able to zip open, from here to here. Does this make sense? Again, this is all illustrated in that pattern so you can see and have a visual reference for where to start and stop your stitching. So this also means that you want to make sure your zipper is spaced properly when you are sewing on the pillow top and when you're sewing on the pillow back. So you can put them right sides together. You can even make a little mark to make sure that your zipper is, not kind of wonky, is placed properly on both sides. All right. Then we're going to either use our invisible zipper foot or use a regular zipper foot to do the exact same thing and sew the opposite side of the zipper tape to our pillow back. All right, once we have that, you want to make sure to move your zipper pull in a little ways. You can also, zip it closed and make sure that everything looks nice and that the zipper is functional and that you didn't sew over any of the zipper teeth or get too close, making sure that that can, zip open nicely for you. And you will notice I did not add a lining fabric to this. If you wanted to add a lining fabric to this, you would want to do so during the zipper insertion process so that your lining is attached when that zipper is attached, so that, all of your seams are enclosed. That's really the whole purpose of adding a lining here. I did not think that was necessary. I have my batting on the inside, and then I'm just going to put in a pillow form. But you could certainly line your pillow if you wanted to as well. All right, so now we have our invisible zipper attached. And we are going to put our pillow top and our pillow back right sides together. We have our zipper pull pulled a little ways. You can have it open a little more than halfway. And you can see my zipper ends are still in place. I really don't want to clip those off until after I've sewn my pillow perimeter. So as I mentioned, we are going to start a little ways in. See where the zipper ends are coming out? We're going to start sewing a little ways in from there, go all the way around, of course, leaving our zipper open. Is everyone with me? Okay. So here I am kind of showing how to navigate those corners. This gets a little bit tricky here because we have our piping inside. But as I mentioned previously, you do want to clip into your piping seam allowance when you are making it follow that corner. What's going to happen is it's actually going to be a little bit curved. Your edges of your pillow will be a little bit curved. But it's interesting that when you turn it right side out, they're going to look like regular corners. So this is all fine and good. Just be aware when you are going around that curve, you don't want to hit your cording that's inside your piping. So we're using that zipper foot to stitch our pillow top and pillow back together so that we can get close to that cording without sewing through it and follow that little ever so slight curve at each corner. So once that is sewn, now we can trim our zipper tape ends because we have sewn them in a little ways and they will be enclosed when we turn our pillow right side out. You can also kind of trim the corners a little bit to conform to that little bit of curve and reduce a little bit of that bulk along your corner seams. So after you trim away that zipper, you can turn this right side out through your zipper opening. And now we can insert our pillow form and zip up our pillow. So I love using a pillow form rather than fiber fill because that allows us to then use that pillow form for another holiday pillow, and we can easily swap out our pillows, and we only have to store the pillow covering and not the entire pillow. So that's the advantage of adding a zipper into your pillow. You can also do an envelope closure if you're more comfortable with that, but it is harder to do an envelope closure when you want to have that pretty quilting on the wrong side of your pillow. I'm getting a little bit of fuzz on mine. So if you want to have this pretty quilting and this seamless look, it's really, really great. I can't even find my zipper to add. There it is. You can hardly see it. That's where my invisible zipper is. Isn't that great? You can hardly see it. And then here we are. We can access our pillow form and swap it out for other holidays. The other thing I like to do is I like to size my fabric pieces to the exact size of my pillow form. That way it's really snug, very cushy. It fills out the whole pillow up to the corners. If you create a pillow that measures, or a pillow covering that measures 17 inches before sewing your seam allowances, then you're going to have a little bit of airiness, a little bit of, floppiness around the edges. Mine is like filled to the brim. Okay. So I don't really account for seam allowances when I'm sewing my pillow perimeter together. Just my own personal thing. All right. So there you have it. Patchwork Christmas pillow using this gridded stabilizer technique where we are creating our own grid, and we can create that grid in any size. So if you have a charm pack of 5-inch squares, create a grid of 5-inch squares, and you can create a larger quilt using this exact same technique. You can, use 10-inch layer cake pre-cuts and create an even larger quilt and, arrange those fabric squares any which way you choose. So this is such a great stress-free way of doing patchwork. You can even do this with table runners, with placemats, with things like this. I love the idea of using it for a placemat or a table runner because with that additional stabilizer, you can go hanging it up or putting it on your table, and that stabilizer is going to help it retain its shape over time. So with the additional stabilizer in the quilt behind me, there's no sagging or drooping, and it stays nice, neat, and flat when it's hanging on the wall. So I wanted to share that I took this idea and more of my jelly roll that I had left over, and I created a patchwork stocking using the exact same technique. So again, you can arrange your cute little fabric squares however you want, but I did a rectangle, created my grid, sewed all of my squares to the grid, and then cut it out in the shape of my stocking pattern after I quilted it. This one I quilted with Sulky Poly Sparkle thread, which you can see on the back a lot better on the camera. So you can add a little bit of glitz, and then I did it in like a crosshatch pattern with the quilting rather than the straight line quilting. And I absolutely love the look of this. You could have a set of patchwork stockings in a fraction of the time it would take you to piece all of this together without the use of that fusible stabilizer. So grab up all the soft and sheer extra stabilizer. You might want to get it on a bolt so that you can create tons of projects that coordinate. Grab yourself a jelly roll, create your 2.5-inch grid, and you can create tons of fabric yardage all at once, and then cut out like 3 stocking fronts or a pillow and 2 stockings, out of the same yardage that you're creating with your patchwork. You can quilt them in different ways for different recipients. I just think it's such a versatile technique, so smart, and I think you're really going to have fun with it. I've been so excited to share this all with you, so I really hope you enjoyed today's episode of So What, that you're getting in the holiday spirit, even though we're still, in the changing leaves of fall. So I hope that this inspires some of your holiday makes. Get this on your holiday must make list, and you'll be that much closer to decking the halls for the holidays of your choice. All right, so I want to make sure that I'm addressing any questions that have come in. Shannon is loving the stocking. All right, thank you so much, Marilyn. Love the stocking idea. I mean, really, you're just creating your own fabric. So just cut your stabilizer to the size that you need, and you can create whatever you want, right? So you can grab up that pillow pattern and get a step-by-step tutorial of using the stabilizer for this technique, and then also creating this particular pillow using any fabric print of your choice. All right, well, I will see you all next week for another So What, followed by our gingerbread ornaments in the hoop at 2 p.m. Eastern Time over at sewingonline.sulky.com. Make sure that you're registered so that you get our reminder emails so that you can join on time. And if you can't join live, be sure to register anyway so you can grab up your freebies, be eligible for the door prizes that we give away, and watch the entire tutorial at any time that's convenient for you. All right, I will see you all next Tuesday. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, everyone.